Hey Raquel. Hey RB. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Guess what fish these are? Hey movie. We got storms going on this right now, so we'll hope for the best here. Keep your fingers crossed. Nope, RB, these have big polka dots on them. And no white edging. So this is a totally different one. These are called mini snowballs. And that's the food in the foreground. I'm trying to be quiet enough to get them to come out, but if not, you can still see a few of them here and there. But they're a dark fish with the dots on them. If you want to know the official L number, it's L471. And these are Mama's pride and joy. She fell in love with this fish, so she just had to get them. And it took about they're similar to the zebras. They only get about 3.5 inches, the adult's total length, and they are carnivorous. They love meat. They won't hardly eat anything but meat. Yeah, oh no, my snowballs. Yeah. She wasn't thinking about these fish at the time she said that, but yeah, it applies. These are called mini snowballs. There's actually three different types, three different sizes of snowball plecos that fall into three different categories. And there's three different L numbers for them. But it's all based on size. These are the smallest. And we're talking adult size, of course. And then you've got I remember the second one is a 201, and they look a lot alike, especially when they're little. But ultimately, the 201 gets about the size of a bristlenose, 5 or 6 inches. And then there's a third snowball, quote unquote, that gets about, oh, I forgot to turn off that, gets about 7 or 8 inches. So we always have to stick to smaller fish, so these worked out perfect. Yeah, there's Mr. Thunder. Hey, Kate. Glad you made it. Water's a little stirred up. I got a power filter running on it too to kind of do some cleanup. Whoops. But yeah, these are the 471s, Kate. These are the youngsters. Okay. Yeah, Mama loves these. These are her favorites. Yeah, Contra. Oh, Mama's here. Welcome in, Mama. Yeah, the Contra gets 5.5 inches. Yeah, there's 3 or 4 of them. It's hard to keep them straight. One of the biggest things you have to watch out for is if you're looking for these 471s, you can get sold a Contra or the other versions that get bigger. So you have to really be careful. If you're specifically looking for these, then really watch out. Of course, she's here. These are her babies. Yeah. Well, then I think with me standing here, they're going to refuse to come out for food. So we'll try to zoom in on somebody. 32. I got it marked on the tank. There's 32. I need to have this easier so I can move it around without jerking all over the place. Why is everything so tight? Sorry. All right. Yeah, 3.5 inches is where they top out at. And these right now, these little guys here are probably 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. And this is the size that normally I'd be trying to sell them at. But Mama wants to keep this first group, of course, so we can grow them up and get some more adults out of them. I don't know who's Indigo Seidel. I don't know who that is. Is he a famous breeder? But yeah, there's 32 of them in here, so there's plenty. I'm tired of wrestling with this tripod. We're just going to go handheld mode here, so we can. That's a pretty good shot of one right there. RB says, "Are you and Jordy going to Aquashell?" We don't know yet. We haven't made up our mind yet. Oh, he's a breeder. Okay. All right, Kate. Drive safe. But yeah, they're pretty little fish. Yeah, Mama knew that you like these, Kate, so she wanted you to see them for sure. But they're all doing really well. They survived just fine the transfer over from the parents' tank. You can't see it, but there's a bunch underneath the heater there too. But yeah, there's a bunch of them in this, 32 of them in this tank. But that's the 471 mini snowball. This tank over here, we just got some bristlenose youngsters, more of them growing out. Yeah, Kate, you can. I'm streaming to YouTube too, so it'll be on YouTube. You can catch it there. if you want to watch the whole thing. These are long fin snows, maybe a couple short fin snows and some short fin super red youngsters growing out. And then one tank over, we've got some young zebras. They're all huddled up together because they're afraid with the light on. L046. And I put this thing in here I made for them, glued some tile together so they could go inside of it. Well, they decided it was better to dig underneath of it than to go inside of it. So who am I to argue with them? They just dug out the substrate and they're hiding under it, which is not exactly safe, but no, it doesn't want to focus. And you can look at his face right there. That's why Mama calls him Froggy. They kind of almost have bulging eyes and a squatty face. All right. I just noticed a problem over here. This is the longfin snow whites, and that's a male. I think what happened here, a couple of males decided to fight over a cave, and in the process they kicked out the eggs. It happens. So let me see. I'm gonna have to save these things with one arm. Oh, okay. I got an impromptu cameraman. Get out of here. No shrimp. Okay, so I'm gonna save these and take them to my room, where I'll put them in the shrimp tank. Just show them a couple fish or something. You're half my arm. All right. Thank you. All right, we're gonna make the trek back to my room. So stand by. Hey, Ghost Badger. Let me get this thing anchored here, and we know where we're at now, right? All right, this is the Bloody Mary tank. So those eggs we just got, oops, they're still, yeah, there we go. Oh, you noticed that Budweiser, did you? I don't even drink beer. I think it was on clearance or something. But these are the longfin snow white eggs that we just rescued. So they're going in this tank. And the reason why, here, come on. Well, you can't. Okay. There you go. I cleared off the bed for you, so now you can supervise. The reason why we put them in here is so that the shrimp, there's no big fish to eat them. Yeah, you want to see Astro real quick? There's the handsome fella. Yeah. You know we're talking about you, don't you? Yeah, I know. You're silly. He likes to supervise the work that goes on here. Let's see. I'll be right back. All right, so the eggs, if they get kicked out of the cave, all is not lost. Of course, you want to leave them in the cave with the dad if at all possible, but as you saw, these got kicked out, so we got to deal with it. And basically, there's a lot of different ways you can handle it. Some people put them in a egg tumbler. Yeah, Raquel, that's exactly why I use the shrimp method, because the shrimp are not strong enough to break the egg, but if whatever fungus will develop on the egg, they will pick it clean off and basically keep the eggs clean. So that's why I prefer to do this method. If you have enough shrimp and stuff, they can handle it. But I also like to help, and it doesn't hurt the shrimp. But we put in about 2 drops of methylene blue. This also is a fungus preventer for fungus prevention. Methylene blue. So you'll start seeing the blue coming down in the water here in a second. But especially early on when you first put them in, I think it definitely helps the eggs to not fungus. Movie. When a daddy fish and mommy fish love each other, they do what's called wrestling, and then the eggs are fertilized. Yes. People drink that too. What? Methylene blue? But anyway, yeah, you can see it's you can notice a blue hue taking over. It's maybe not real easy to see, but yeah, it'll just enough to help things. These eggs are pretty new, so I don't know if they will. I don't think they'll quite have anything developing yet in them. They're really fresh. They probably were laid last night. So yeah, I don't even think you'll see a heartbeat. I'm trying to look with my own eyeballs up close, and I don't see anything. They look fertile, so that's good. But yeah, it'll take a couple of days before you start to see veins and a heartbeat. Oops. Okay, we are zoomed out. Okay. All right, so we got those handled. Explain how I know they're fertile. Well, it's color. It's color. If they, I think when they're laid, they're almost clear. Hey, Neo, how's it going? Mama's in the chat. So you can kind of tell by color whether they're fertile or not. Excuse me. All right, so that is one crisis averted. So there's something going on in the fish room. One of my favorite tanks to look at right now. Not this one. This is Old Hat. You guys know these are just more bristlenose growing up. They're all doing good. No casualties. Everybody's doing great. Those orange ones are the super reds. It's time for them to get sold. But Neo says I like this tank. And it's kind of bare bones. I kind of took a lot of stuff out of it because I don't really have it decorated, quote unquote. Because I knew I was going to have to be catching fish. I already started to catch fish. I sold some fish. Last Saturday, sold a few fish. So when you have to start catching fish, you kind of got to clear out things. You can't get it too heavily aquascaped. Otherwise, it just makes it really difficult to catch the fish. So Neil says, so cute to be able to see them all. Yeah, that's true. You can see everybody. But bristlenose don't hide like the other more expensive plecos like they hide. They're just shyer. Yeah, that's Astro. We try to stay on his toenails, but they seem to grow pretty fast. But I got hardwood floors in here, and he tippity tappity's off. He left though. But the tank below, I don't know if you remember the tank below. Y'all remember the tank below? Announced something come up this morning and won't be here to do stream at 1. Resume tomorrow. Put it in Discord. Oh yeah. Neil wants to know how many gallons of water are in this room. That's a good question. You got your pen and paper out? 55. There's a 55, a 40, a 29, a 39, 4 10 gallons, and 3 20 gallons, 2 5 gallons, and this 2.5. So I don't know. I'd have to write it down. Anyway, we're going to take a look at this. This is our tank. Remember, we had a whole bunch of eggs in this tank, and they all had pretty much all of them hatched. Yeah, it's a lot of weight. We're on this half of our house is on a concrete slab, so I'm not. We've had it this way for 6 years, so it hadn't fallen down yet. Yeah, there'll be tons of babies in here. Those are all longfin snow whites. Astro, I don't need you touching the phone. Yeah, there's a ton in here. Of course, this is super temporary. I can't leave them in here. They will quickly overwhelm the 2.5 gallons of water in here. And if you look carefully, you can see some little tiny baby fish swimming around. Also, those are baby rice fish, Medaka rice fish. The eggs, the parents laid the eggs on that green yarn. And it's been in here for a couple of weeks, and they started popping out. Yeah, some of them you can tell they're actually swimming against the current and stuff. The front glass has algae on it too, so it's all the little specks that are stationary. That's algae on the glass. Yeah, RB, they're tiny. I mean, when you consider that those plecos are probably they're under 1/2 inch for sure, but there might be close to 1/2 inch. Those little rice fish are teeny tiny. Yeah, Neil, their eggs are not huge. Let me see. There was some rice fish eggs up in here, but I think they hatched. I don't see them anymore. They were here yesterday, but they might have hatched last night. But it shocked me because these rice fish in here are super young, and I'm like, good grief, they're already spawning. They're too tiny to be spawning already, but they were. One of the females had an egg hanging off of her rear end. This is a 2.5 gallon tank, so it's not a lot of water. But you can kind of see, I don't know if it'll focus on them, but there's a decent number of little baby rice fish in there. And of course, this is the yellow shrimp tank too, as one of y'all put it, the water bananas. When they're this small, they won't. Hang on, sorry. I forgot. I need to feed them. So, you can make your own powder food, but I bought this stuff a while back. It's called First Bites. And basically, it's just a microscopic powder food. So, I mean, you can grow live foods that are small, but what I do on this is I just use a Q-tip and kind of get it dirty looking, and then I tap it over the top. And it gets that powder food on the surface. And that's how I feed them when they're that tiny. The rice fish will stay in there longer than the plecos. The plecos will have to come out sooner because they're going to grow pretty fast in there. But yeah, you can feed them with a little teeny tiny powder food. RB said grain of rice. They're smaller than that. They're smaller than a grain of rice. The plecos are probably 2 grains of rice. The rice fish are, boy, they're almost just barely bigger than a pinhead with a tail right now. They're tiny. Movie wants to know if we make decent money selling your fish. Yeah, I mean it definitely helps. Neo said, "Well, wants to know if the plecos will eat the powder too." Yeah, sure they will. They're still catfish. When that rapashi, that chunk of rapashi goes away, they will. They'll track down any powder that's landed on the ground on the substrate. Oh, there's a yellow shrimp cruising around. But it's Mama, did you tell him baby girl wants to rub goldfish booties together? No, I didn't tell him that. Yeah, she's thinking about trying her hand at breeding goldfish over at her house. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I think it was movie. It's extra. It's extra money. I mean, just like streaming is extra money, and it helps pay the bills. At this point. Anything helps pay the bills. So I try to, and selling fish is very up and down. It's very up and down. Some weekends I don't sell anything. But other weekends I'll sell maybe $100 worth or $200 or $300 worth in a Saturday. And I try to only sell on Saturday because we're trying to stream and stuff, and I don't really want to be at the beck and call of the fish people saying that, and most fish people are 9-to-5ers anyway, so it works out fine. Most of them have Saturday available, so I just kind of leave Saturday for dealing with fish folks. Neil said you have to rub the butts. A little. I don't know if you don't need to touch them together, Mama. They squeeze the eggs out into a container, and then eggs are called roe, and then the male his special sauce is called milt. So the roe and the milt are squeezed out and mixed together gently, and that's how they fertilize all the eggs. You don't have to actually touch their butts together. I know as funny as that sounds to you, and you wish it was so, you don't have to. They can do it themselves, Neil, and they would. What it is it's control. So you can control the parents, who the parents are. Because you might have, unless you literally have only one boy and one girl in the same tank, they could do it themselves, but it's just about control. The Japanese do it with koi because they want to have control of who the parents are. Hey, Regulus, glad you can make it. We're looking at fish, of course. Forgot it was Tuesday. Yeah, I didn't put a notice in the Discord either. I forgot to. But we found a set of bristlenose eggs, longfin snow white bristlenose eggs that got kicked out of the cave, so we had to rescue them. So I brought them in here, and they're going to be in with the Bloody Mary shrimp. See, that shrimp's already on there. Well, she left now, but the shrimp like to make sure everything stays clean, and they do a good job of it, for sure. Yeah, it's a big batch. Yeah, I noticed she is buried. You saw that, did you? Yeah, she's got some eggs underneath of her, but I don't. Depends on how the light hits them. Sometimes you can notice, sometimes you can't. But yeah, the red ones should be having a bunch of babies. There's two or three big females in there, so. Regulus says hi, Mama. All right, time for one of our tank favorites, our favorite tanks. These are, of course, the Starlights, L183, and red crystal shrimp. They're doing good. They're getting big. I need to I need to start selling some of these guys. I think I sold one last 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago I sold one. But there's probably 20 of them in here, so they need to get sold. Mama Fairy Face says setting up a tank for blue bolts. Yeah, I think I don't know. I have to talk to Jordan. But yeah, I'd like to get blue bolts again. I don't know, Mama, what you think. Do you think Tangerine Tigers would sell better than blue bolts, or vice versa? Yeah, I don't know about pandas. Blue bolts are harder, are more finicky than these red crystals. Yeah, okay. Blue bolts and pandas. Pandas just they have what they call a shadow panda. It's like a black and white and with a blue tinge to it, I think. It's been a while since I looked them up. But Starlights are doing good. All right, then let's see. We of course got our red lizards. They have not spawned yet. I'm still waiting. Seaward passes. Do you use reverse osmosis water for normal Caridinias? Yeah, I do. I do RO water. I do like half RO water and half tap water, and try to keep the TDS around 200. Yeah, there's a baby 236 in there with the Starlights. There's two of them actually, which I'll get around to catching them. Yeah, Neo, those are called red lizard whiptail catfish. Yeah, they're believe it or not, they're still sucker mouth catfish, so it's still a pleco. It's just a different looking, long, skinny looking, prehistoric looking pleco. I'd never had them before. I always just kind of liked them from afar, so I got some, and I wanted to see if I can breed them. Do y'all remember the little baby super yellow that I had up here? And I thought he was gone. The last stream I did was, what, about a week ago today? Or no. Last Thursday. Not a week ago, last Thursday. Yeah, RB, he was in here the whole time. He was just hiding in the middle of that clump of Sawassertang moss. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is if I put a light on him, you can kind of see him better. It's not in focus. He's a little bit yellow. But he came from yellow parents, so we'll see. The thing about these fish is their color gets better the older they get. But yeah, he's come a long ways since you guys saw him last, where he had his egg yolk on him still. He's itching to get out into the tank. And he'll be fine out in the tank. You know, it's like I said last time, I wasn't afraid. If he did escape, I wasn't afraid of it. But you guys you're gonna watch the release. Yeah, he's not a wiggler anymore. It's going to be quick. As soon as he figures it out, he will shoot off for any kind of cover he can find. Oh, there he goes. Oh, there, he probably didn't catch that. He shot over this way. He's down in there somewhere now. They're very fast. When they want to be, they are very fast. All right, so he's free and on his own now. He's probably going to be happier. I'm going to set you down for a minute here. Okay. Yeah, he's probably down inside there somewhere now, which is fine. That's where he belongs. Seaward passes. Do you ever build your own aquariums? No. Seaward, I never have. Try it. Well, you know, now that I think about it, I have to take that back. I did do it one I did do it one time. It's a weird story. Back when the kids were little, I had a gumball machine. I don't know if y'all have ever seen one of those. It's like a of course, a pedestal and a square plastic box on it that's divided by into 4 sections, and then basically you can put a quarter in each side, right? And you can fill it up. Mom and I we tried that as a small business while the kids were little at one point, and we bought the machines, and we tried to have a route where we would go to, just have them in a doctor's office, gas station, wherever, and then I would go around after work and fill them up. But it didn't work out too well, because lo and behold, nobody told us, but that market's pretty well saturated. There's already somebody else doing it. So yeah, it didn't work. But anyway, long story longer, I ended up with a couple of I ended up selling a few, but I ended up with years later I had an extra one, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't even know I had one left. So I thought, how crazy would it be to turn this into a fish tank? So the problem is that it was 4 sections divided in plastic, so it was not you couldn't really make a fish tank out of it. So I measured it. Yeah, Ghost Badger. I measured it and went and had the glass pieces cut for me, and of course a bottom and 4 sides, and then I siliconed it and put it. Hey, stop it! Siliconed it, put it all together, and it actually worked. And the top, you know, everything looked just like a gumball machine, but the top of it was the original metal lid, and I cut a hole in the back, and I just had a simple air pump and a sponge filter going in it. It ended up being like 3 gallons or something like that. It wasn't too small. It wasn't too big either. But it actually did work. That's the only. Thanks for the memory. That's the only tank I've ever actually built myself, and it was an oddball, something weird. And the thing is, years after that, I used it for a little while, but it was pretty small, and we weren't into shrimp or anything back then. So it's like, I don't really have a use for it. It's too small for me to put any decent big fish in it. So I ended up giving it to my sister, and they never ever used it. They kept it for years and years and years. As a matter of fact, it could still be in their house somewhere. I don't know. I should ask them. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to building my own fish tank. It's not. I don't think it's that difficult. You just got to abide by some rules and you'll be fine. Drop a quarter, get a fish. Yeah. No, it would have been really cute if you had like, gumball background on it or something. Seaward says, I saw a guy do it with IKEA tempered glass and it looks great. Yeah. No, I think I've seen that same YouTube you're talking about, that video. Yeah, you can buy the glass shelves that are already, cut, and the edges are not going to cut you. It's all smoothed out and everything. And yeah, he figured it out, and you watch his video, he'll tell you which pieces to buy. Didn't he say it made like a 25 gallon, I think it was? Like instead of a 20 long, it was like a 25 long, something. It was a little odd, but you expect it to be an odd size because it's a cheap way to make a tank. But tanks aren't that much these days. If you find them on the sales, is it Petco? I think it's Petco that runs their half off sale twice a year, something like that, 3 times a year. And PetSmart runs $1 a gallon, which isn't really $1 a gallon, but on small tanks it is. But I think once you get over 20 gallons, it's not $1 a gallon anymore. Oh, and I don't know if you remember, you have a Curve Fluval Flex 15 gallon. Nice. Yeah. I have a Curve Fluval. $40, yeah. That's good. That's good. The Fluval Flex, I have a mine's a 9 gallon. Mine's a little 9 gallon. Kate. Yeah, there's a bunch of them in there. I moved them all from the 55 gallon below to up here because I wanted to get them on sand. I think they're happier on sand. And then I've got the green lasers with them because the green lasers are hard to breed. The pandas are not. So I'm hoping that the pandas doing their thing will put the green lasers in the mood too, But Seaward, this is a Fluval 9 gallon curve front. That's probably similar to your same design as your 40. That's just got shrimp in it right now. It's a little low. I need to add some water to it. I like it. I like the design. I think it's a very cool looking little tank. It's all in one unit. You know, it's a good starter tank for somebody if they were thinking about their first tank, you know. I don't know if you guys remember, but this tank down here is a 20 long. Let me shut off the fan because it might be blowing in the microphone. Yeah, the filtration system's all built in the back. Yeah, there's even a space to drop a heater back there. So I do like the Fluval Flex. I really do. But if y'all remember, maybe if you were here, this tank is a longfin female super red. That's her right there on the front of the glass. And then we're kind of short on male longfin super red, so I've got a male short fin super red back there in that cave, which is just a garden spike. If you ever need cheap caves, just buy some garden spikes off Amazon. But anyway, I put these two together, and I knew she was ready. But he's a young male, has never bred before, so you know, you always keep your fingers crossed. But it was within a couple days, and they spawned, and I think we saw the eggs on one of my lives I do. But now, guess what? All those little plecos have come out of their cave. Those are all the baby super reds. Now, I'm hoping for 50-50 split in between long fins and short fins. We're going to find out. But if you look around the tank, you'll see little babies. They're coming out because, of course, they've run through their egg sac and they are hungry now. So they're going to be out munching on algae, getting a hold of that Repashy gel food, which is what she's going after right now. And whenever you have babies, a lot of babies, you got to kind of overfeed. You just kind of do it, because these babies, I don't think people understand, but these little plecos, their metabolism is going 90 miles an hour. Because think about it, in nature, when you're that size, you're somebody's food. So most of the time, youngsters in any youngster in nature is going to grow as fast as it possibly can. As fast as it possibly can. So it holds true still in your fish tank. So my warning is, don't underfeed if you've got babies, because they can and they will starve to death. And it literally could take 2 days and they'll be dead. So if you're going out of town or whatever and you got babies, you make sure to get somebody or some way of somebody feeding them, because they'll be dead when you come back. And and it could crash your tank and you could lose everything in that tank. So just keep that in mind if you ever have baby fish. I literally feed my baby fish twice a day minimum, sometimes more, because they will eat and eat and eat. As you know, they will eat and eat and eat. There's not one fish in here that looks overfed. So that's part of the process of the powder food, the Repashy plus the powder food. You just want to make sure, and grow some algae for them. You just want to make sure that they have access to food all the time. They literally want to eat 24 hours a day almost. They'll sleep a little bit. So yeah, we've got super red babies in this tank too, so we got to make sure we feed this tank really well. And of course, the main tank, we've got That youngster I just released. And hopefully there's a bunch of his brothers and sisters inside there. So yeah, just a friendly word of advice. Oh, and the other thing too, I don't know yet, but you know how the male spawned. Oh, the male spawned in that cave. He's back in that cave. There's some good lightning. So I'm hoping he's on some more eggs, maybe, hopefully. Mama said, but mention the more you feed, the more you need to be on top of water quality. That's true, Mama. That's true. If you feed heavy, you're gonna be doing more water changes, but hey, it's worth it. You've got your fish to make babies, and those babies will eventually make you money. Or you can have fun giving them away to friends and family or whatever. Yeah, we got some thunderstorms going on. We are not going to be streaming. Me and Mama are going to have to skip today. It's probably just going to be way too risky. You'd like some rain. Yeah, we've gotten rain the last 2 days, man. My yard needs mowed, and I can't get out there to mow it because it's just too wet. But anyway, so unfortunately we have to skip today, but we should be back for Wednesday. Yeah, don't worry. As long thunderstorms are fine. I just don't want to make it a tornado. Hey, Judex. Welcome. Glad you made it. But yeah, with my procedure, I had to miss last week pretty much. Oh, there's a pretty young Corydora, panda Cory back there. You see him? He's pretty small. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, we did have some hail mixed in with it too. It was nothing to be concerned about, but it was some hail. But yeah, I want to try to get back on Tuesday mornings and then Thursday evenings. Thursday at 9 p.m. Yeah, glad you were here, Ghost Badger. I'm getting better at saying your name. Without cussing. Yeah. I don't know what it was. I think I was trying to talk before my brain was kicking in gear or whatever. But anyway, that's about it for today. We got to see, if you missed it, check out Gary's Fish Room on YouTube for the replay, the VOD. But at the beginning of the stream, we got to see Mama's 471 mini snowball babies. They're doing really good since we moved them. So check that out at the very beginning of today, if you did miss it. And we had to rescue some eggs that got kicked out of the cave, so we did that. Thank you, Regulus. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's thundering pretty good. But that'll wrap it up for me today, and we'll check the weather, and we'll be good. All right, everybody, take care, and thanks for being here. Bye bye.